What's up everyone, this is Emilio, and in this video today I'm going to be talking about how to secure up your vacant property. I am in the city of Detroit right now, and one of the reasons why I'm covering the city is because I talk to a lot of owners that have bought vacant property, me myself included, and we have had the property broken into, things have been stolen, squatters have been they got into the house and they squatted in the house and it was hard to kick them out. And in this video I want to give you the options of ways that you could secure your property and protect your investment. But before we start on this video, I want you to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. In this channel I talk about investing, real estate investing, wholesaling, and the Detroit market. And today I am in the Detroit market and I'm going to be walking into a house that we do have secure, and I want to show you and talk about some of the options that you do have. So the first option that you have is you can put a security system in the house. Now, I just walked in, I set the alarm, and the alarm is beeping down. Now that alarm is turned off, that's the first option that I want to talk about. First option is installing an alarm. Now, normally what I did when I was first investing was I would call a company like ADT or Guardian Alarm. And now what they would do is someone would come out, install an alarm panel here. And this is where you could, type in your code when the alarm goes off or when you want to set the house. They would install contact sensors. So they would put contact sensors on the windows. They would put motion sensors here, things like that. Now, what I learned slowly over time was it was a good way to protect the property, make sure squatters weren't in there, make sure nothing was stolen. But the only issue was that with those alarm systems, they're quite costly. So you have to pay for the installation. You also have to pay for the equipment. And a lot of times I didn't have all that money, so I would go on payment plans. So what I did was a lot of the properties that I want rented, we got the security system so we could have an alarm there while we were renovating the property. Once that property was renovated, the tenant had the choice of having the alarm, included in their rent or not included in their rent. So in my mind, I was like, well, most of the time they're going to want an alarm system on there. But let's say we had two properties. One of them, they wanted the alarm. The other one, they didn't want the alarm. So what happened was we pretty much have to pay for that alarm system even though the tenant isn't using it. Now, it helped us while we were doing the renovations because if the property was potentially broken into and something was stolen, like a water heater or furnace, that'd be thousands of dollars to repair that equipment. Or if you had a squatter, they would ruin the property. It would take them months to get out. You'd have to do more work to just try and get the property vacated. So the alarm system was really helpful then. But the only thing what I learned from using those alarm systems is not everybody wants one. So and they're very costly. So two other options that I did was I used this alarm system by SimpliSafe. Now, one of the reasons why this is a really good one, and I'm going to have links in the description below for all of these. So if you decide to choose to purchase one, there's more information in the links below. But I use SimpliSafe for this property. And the reason why is because I don't have cameras here. The only thing I want to do is make sure that if the property was broken into, there's movement, there's a motion sensor here in the kitchen. So what I did was the most important thing in this house are the mechanicals downstairs, the furnace and the water heater. So if anybody had to go down to the basement, they have to go through this door. So I put a motion sensor here, and the motion sensor goes off and sets an alarm and all that stuff. Now, the reason why I went with SimpliSafe for this property was because I didn't have any cameras here. I just want an alarm system. And with SimpliSafe, I believe it's like 20 bucks a month or like 15 bucks a month. And what it is that you could download the app, control your alarm system, get updates to see if somebody broke in or not, or if the alarm system went off, all through your app, and it's only $15 a month. Since there's no cameras involved, then you don't need cable or a wireless router, because the second option is going with a system like ring.com, which I prefer out of a lot of the DIY alarm systems. So with Ring, I have that on another property. Now, the reason why I liked using that on the other property was because Ring has cameras. So one thing was that I liked because a lot of the times when there's a break-in, they're going for one place and one place only. They want to take your furnace and water heater, or if they're squatters, they want to stay in the house. So I put the alarm system there, and then I put some cameras inside the basement pointed at the furnace and water heater, mostly because if there's a false alarm there, I'll know that it's a false alarm because I'll just turn on the cameras that are pointed at the furnace and water heater. And if there's no one there in the basement, then we know that it's a false alarm. So unfortunately with the cameras, the camera does use cable, or it needs Wi-Fi. So I didn't have any Wi-Fi, so I actually had to install cable at the property. And the base that I used, or the model that I used where the base could be used as a wireless router, was the Ring Pro base model. And one of the reasons why I like that was because the whole system costs a little under $1,000. There's no payments to use, and you could transfer it from property to property. The one cool thing about the SimpliSafe, you don't need much. It comes with this standard base model and the keypad. One thing I did do, and I put it up there, it's all the way up there in the kitchen, but I got this really loud speaker, and the loudspeaker is really, really loud. So whenever the alarm goes off, it just goes from this base model, and it's not that loud. But if you get this big, okay, I just climbed up and got it, but this is the SimpliSafe siren. I mean, this thing is like super, super loud. And what I did was I just put it on top here, because what happens if the alarm goes off and it's just here on the countertop, they might just take it and like shove it in a, I don't know, shove it somewhere where it's not as loud, and they can continue to steal. But the thing that is really important too is that with SimpliSafe, if the alarm goes off, customer service will call you to see if they'll have to send in the police or at least alert you that the alarm is going off. It's the same thing with the Ring app. You could set it in your app. If there is a break-in, Ring.com could either dispatch somebody, or they'll call you first and then they'll ask you if they could dispatch somebody. And one of the reasons why I wanted a camera there was because when I first put the alarm there, we were getting alerts all the time. There were false alarms. So the problem was, whenever you send somebody out there, they're going to charge you. So we were getting charged like $75 every time somebody went out. And then after that, I was like, dude, I'm not going to spend this. I might as well just get the cable, send the cable out there, get Wi-Fi set up so we can install some cameras. So in this property, I'm using the SimpliSafe, and the other property, I'm using the Ring. Again, it depends on your situation. It depends on what you're able to do. And you could also get the ADT. However, it's a little bit more expensive, and you do have to pay for installation. If there's anybody interested out there, if you need an alarm system set up at your property, I've helped out 3 property owners so far that have purchased properties in Detroit, and I set up their Ring system. I set up the cameras, I set up the Ring doorbell, all the sensors and all that kind of stuff. So we are willing to help out with that. But I'm going to be talking about the second option for securing your property. All right, everybody, so I'm in my car, started driving around, and wanted to find the other option that you could have for securing up your property. We just step out for a second. You're gonna see this property here behind me, and you see what they did was they boarded up with plywood of the windows and the doors. So that's another option that you could do, is you could have somebody just install some plywood on the windows. Some of the benefits for that, obviously it's tougher to get into the property. It's tougher to steal some things. Now, the other option is something called metal doors. So there's different companies out there. I think the most popular one is Dogs. I believe it's DAWGS, I think. Difference between the plywood and the metal doors, obviously it's much tougher to get into. If you do have plywood on the windows, it helps deter people away from the property, but it doesn't stop them. So, when they put the plywood up, they're going to put screws in there or nails and secure it up. Now, if somebody else has a power tool or a crowbar, if it's nails, and a power tool if it's screws, they're just going to screw it right out. So it doesn't keep them out like 100%, but it definitely does help, and every little bit helps. One of the things that you should not do is, if you do have a property and it's vacant, like if there's no blinds on it, if there's no nothing to cover up the windows, and people could just see straight into your house, That's one of the worst things that you could do. You're pretty much just saying to the world, hey, this property is vacant, there's nothing in here, come in here and do what you want. They're just going to look inside the window and they're going to kick in the door. Home Depot sells those brown paper rolls, and you could take those rolls and you could tape them up on the windows. But you know, just don't leave a property vacant and open for everyone to see. It's your property. You want to do as much as you can to either secure it, put an alarm system, cover it up so anybody sees it, so no one sees it. Another thing you could do is, if you do have a property and you have a water heater and you have a furnace still in the property, you could simply have it removed. If you're lucky, you have a contractor in the area that has extra storage space, or you could just have them remove it, drop it off to the new storage space, and then work on the property as much as you can without having those mechanicals in the property. And then when you're all finished, put it back. Maybe put an alarm system then, but that way when the people break in and they see that there's no water heater and furnace, then you know they'll just leave, hopefully, and they won't squat. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's super impromptu, but I hope this information was really helpful to you. If you are investing in the city of Detroit, I do have a real estate investing course. I also can answer any questions about wholesaling, real estate investing. If you want to tell me about your journey, I love hearing about that stuff. So there's a comment in the link below. There's a link in the description below of where you could reach out to me. If you're interested in that Detroit real estate investing course, there's a link down there as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon.